So tell me your name.
Gary Urinosky. I'm from Biloxi, Mississippi.
Where are
And
you from originally?
Biloxi. I was born in Southwest Missouri.
Oh, okay.
Uh,
I love Biloxi.
yeah.
So I've been talking to you for a couple of days. Tell me about the stories you were telling me. You went to Johnson City when you were like a teenager.
Well, I was 19.
That's a teenager.
Yeah, and I can't remember if it was, I guess it was 69. That's where Nick and I met each other, and I also met Fatty there, and Wimpy. In fact, I think that was the year the IRS raided the place. Okay, and a lot of people got relieved of their cash. But
I heard about that office.
yeah, so Nick and I have known each other a long time. But I had a 10-year layoff because right after I got back off the road with Ronnie Allen, Al Werlin, and Titanic Thompson, I got drafted. Actually, while we were out on the road. So I went to flight school, flew helicopters in Vietnam, and I quit playing for 10 years. In 1980, I got assigned to Fort Campbell, Kentucky, and that's when Nick and I reconnected. He was not far from there in Owensboro. I went up and played a tournament with him. And later that year, this was 1980, I think it was 80, we went to Milwaukee and played in the first McDermott Masters. Okay. And I kept playing until I guess it was near 2000, late 90s. I was running around with Scotty Townsend, and I quit again. This time I quit for 21 years. So I've been back playing now for 5 or 6 years. Of course, when you get this age, you get lazy. So I don't practice.
Lazy.
Yeah, I'm lazy when it comes to practicing. I'm lazy. So I don't practice a lot. But I never was an elite player at all. I kind of flew under the radar. But that was good for gambling. In Biloxi, when I'm like 14, I started playing pretty good at the age of 16. People from here in New Orleans would come over, like Ernie Sellers, Jack Britt, Jersey Red would come from Houston, and I would get a lot of weight from them playing as a young teenager, and that was cool. By the time I was about to finish high school, right after, I started playing pretty good. So I left here with Al Werlin and went on the road. We got to Denver, and we'd been out for a few months. His wife had a stroke. So he tried to give me the car and the money and buy a plane ticket home. I said, hey, if you're going home, I'm going home. He said, no, you need to stay out here, kid, which I did. And I worked my way down to St. Louis, and I ran into Louis Roberts. We were the same age. Both of us were 19. He steered me around the area for a couple of weeks. We made a little money. And then I went on down through Vegas, California, and hooked up with Ronnie Allen. Of course, Ronnie was a great player, and we made good money. I never saw him lose at pool. I don't think once. It didn't matter if he was playing 9-ball or one pocket. Of course, he was a better one pocket player. But he liked to gamble in the casino also. And I don't think anybody can be a consistent winner there. So we had a little falling out. He got on the crap table, made a bunch of passes, wouldn't let me drag any chips. Of course he's going to lose. He started out with the dice and $100, letting it ride, making passes. He made about 11 passes. About the 7th or 8th pass, I drugged 20,000. Security escorted me to the door. They let me cash in, but they knew half of that was my money, and they also knew he was going to lose it back to him, just a matter of time, which he did. So we left company, and after that I hooked up with Titanic Thompson. Now he was my age almost now then, but we made our money playing golf. I was probably a better golfer than I was a pool player.
Really?
Yeah, we made a lot. Well, I played high school golf, and then I was on a golf scholarship, which
Right.
I
My
went,
dad loved her too.
really. But anyway, Ty was a good golfer. The special thing about Ty's golf, you know, he was just a real good gambler, proposition bets. He played poker, but he played golf really good. He played golf as good left-handed as he did right-handed. We would roll into a fancy country club, and he would hobnob with the management and find out who the big players were. He'd beat them out of their money. When we first got there, he would have me take his left-handed clubs into the pro shop and put them in there for sale on consignment at a price, of course, that nobody would buy them at. He would beat all the members right-handed. He'd spot them strokes. Then he'd say, I'll play you some left-handed if you got some left-handed clubs in the pro shop, and I'd go get them, and he'd beat them left-handed.
That is a great story.
Well, then they'd quit, and he'd goad them into another game. He'd say, hell, my caddy can beat you, and then I'd beat him. So that was good action. It was really better than pool. But he was getting old, and I was about to get drafted, which I did. I knew I was going to get drafted, and my number was 145 on the first lottery. And later I did get drafted, and that was the end of my pool for 10 years. However, when I came back from Vietnam in 73, I think it was 73, it might have been the next year when I was home in Biloxi on leave over the holidays when I met Scotty Townsend. He had left West Monroe, quit school at the age of, I don't know if it was 13 or 14, came to Biloxi, and we met. I didn't see him again until, I guess, the late 80s, middle 80s. He was living in Fort Walton Beach. I used to go down there from Fort Rucker a lot. Fort Rucker had the Army's aviation school, and I was teaching there. I was still on active duty. I was active duty until 1990. But I did play in the 80s in a handful of tournaments, pool tournaments every year. So I would, rub noses with the good players. Scotty was a really good friend of mine, though, and we went to a lot of tournaments together. One time we were in Memphis, and we both had finished decent in the tournament. I think he was second, I was fifth. Tournament was over. We had checked out of the motel. We were about to come here to New Orleans the next week. He was in action with Richie Richardson. Early Monday morning, it was about to get light. Tournament was over. I had played in a ring game and won some money, and he won some money in the tournament. He was beating Richie probably for $25,000. They were playing 10 and 15,000 sets. He was out of cigarettes, and he said, can you go get some cigarettes? I said, well, I'm out too. I'll go out and get some out of the car. We'd already packed up. We had a couple of cartons in the car. I went out, walked all the way around the block. Car was gone.
What?
Yeah, Memphis is like
Car got stolen?
Car got stolen. It's like the stolen car capital of the country. They don't even come when you report a stolen car. You do everything on the phone. They said, give us your number and we'll call you when you can come view the remains, which happened on Thursday. It was totally stripped. Of course, everything in the car was gone. I had really good insurance, though. It was actually my wife's car. So when I got back in there, Scotty said, where's the cigarettes? I said, I got the keys right here, but the car is gone. And he lost all our money. Yeah, all of a sudden the game turned around, but I kept 1,000 in the back pocket.
Use that to
Yeah.
back on.
Yeah, so we both came down to South Haven, Mississippi, suburb of Memphis. On Wednesday, there was a one-pocket tournament, and we both finished high in that, and we started our recovery there. He called a friend from West Monroe, came and picked us up. At the time, Scotty had now moved to Dothan. He and his wife, Melina, were now living in Dothan. So we stopped in a small town, I can't remember the town, where he knew a guy that owned a little bar and that played pretty good pool. So we won a couple thousand there. So we were recovering our money. got back to Dothan, he and I both knew a friend, pool player, who had a used car lot. I needed to replace my wife's car. So I'm looking at this used Cadillac, and the guy said, well, just take it for the weekend and decide whether you want it. I said, well, we can't. We're going to New Orleans. He said, take the car. I said, okay. So we took that car to New Orleans. Here, Flyboys. Scotty finished like second in the tournament. I barely made the money. And after the tournament, Danny Harriman comes in. Scotty's playing Danny, pretty high dollars, maybe $5,000-10,000. And he wins a couple sets. And then, I don't really know what happened, but Danny got even. He comes back and gets even. It was right after the car manager called me and said, hey, we need that car back. I said, well, you ain't getting it till tomorrow. You know. So, but Danny Harriman was a good player anyway. He was a very good player, and you know, he and Scotty were a tough match. So that was pretty much the end of that. In the 80s, I think it was 1985, I was in Europe, and Nick came to Europe, and Nick Varner, and we played the European Championship together, which was in Zurich, Switzerland.
What year was that?
That was, I want to say 85. Pretty sure it was 85. It could have been 86. I was there 85 to 88, so I'm not sure. But, you know, I was in the Army for 20 years. I retired in 90 with 21 years. And then I did another 15.
All this. Oh my gosh.
Then I did another 15 years with our illustrious intelligence agency all over the world, doing all kinds of covert operations. And I finally cashed in my chips in 06, 07, before somebody else did it for me. And it was interesting, and I had quit playing pool for 20 years right before Scotty got killed on the motorcycle. And I've been back playing about 6 years. But you know, when you get to be in your middle 70s like I am now, you get lazy.
Every day is a blessing.
It is, you know, and nothing is guaranteed. So, yeah, so I'm too lazy to practice, and I've got a pool table at home. I bought my pool table from Nick and his dad in 1980. That table's been to Tennessee, Germany, and Alabama. And plus I have a little private billiard club in southeast Alabama with two diamonds, 2 9-foots and a 7, a nice little room. And I still don't practice enough, so.